Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a look at something I like to call a silent assassin, the hidden link between extreme heat and human deaths. You know, when we think of natural disasters, we usually picture, well, spectacular, booming destruction, right? But today, we're exploring a massive public health emergency that's literally hiding in plain sight. We aren't just talking about feeling a little sweaty or uncomfortable during the summer, we are talking about a quiet, systemic crisis.
So here's a question for you. Why is the absolute deadliest natural disaster the one we seem to fear the least? Just think about it for a second. When a massive storm approaches, entire coastlines evacuate. The news cycle goes 24/7. But when a heat wave rolls in, we usually just kind of complain about the weather and crank up the AC. Yet the data tells a completely different story. Heat kills, and it kills quietly. It completely lacks the chaotic, visible destruction of other disasters. And because of that, our collective fear response is just dangerously out of sync with the actual threat.
It's this stark contrast, really. On one side, you have these highly visible disasters, hurricanes, floods, earthquakes that leave a totally tangible footprint of destruction. Buildings collapse, roads wash away. But on the other side, extreme heat, it leaves absolutely no dramatic wreckage behind. Instead, it causes silent, internal, systemic failure. It's an internal disaster rather than an external one, which is exactly why it slips right under our radar.
Okay, zooming in, the microscopic battle. Let's actually dive right into this and look at exactly what happens inside your own body when the humidity spikes.
You see, the human body is essentially a biological furnace, trying desperately to stay right around 37 degrees Celsius. When it gets really hot out, your cooling limits simply max out. Sweating and vasodilation, that's the widening of your blood vessels to release heat, are pushed to the absolute brink. And this quickly triggers severe dehydration, rapidly reducing your overall blood volume. So because there's less fluid, your heart has to work overtime, spiking its rate to pump what is now thicker, more viscous blood. Eventually, blood pressure plummets. That cuts off oxygen to vital organs, triggering heat stroke. It's crazy, but your body's own natural cooling mechanisms eventually betray it.
And what's truly terrifying here is that heat operates like a master key, unlocking multiple failure pathways all at once. Take the cardiovascular system, for instance. The heart is working so incredibly hard to push blood to the skin that it can actually trigger cardiac arrest. In the kidneys, dehydration causes acute injury. Neurologically speaking, a high core temperature literally scrambles brain function, which can lead to delirium, seizures, or even fatal accidents. And then there's blood viscosity. As you lose all those fluids, your blood thickens up, sharply increasing the risk of strokes and heart attacks. It's just a massive, overlapping system failure.
The medical mystery, the hidden body count. Now, you might be wondering, if extreme heat is causing all these internal catastrophes, why isn't it leading the evening news? Well, that brings us to a bit of a medical mystery.
The simple answer is that heat is rarely listed as the primary cause on a death certificate. Instead, doctors record the triggering events, things like heart failure, a stroke, respiratory collapse, or general organ failure. Heat is actually acting as a silent accomplice. It's an accelerator, particularly for folks who already have pre-existing conditions. Because the official paperwork says heart attack and not heat wave, the true scale of the devastation remains completely hidden from our standard medical statistics.
And this brings us to a really crucial concept: excess deaths. Now, what's fascinating about this is how it completely proves the systematic underreporting of our silent assassin. Epidemiologists look at the normal baseline of deaths for a specific time of year, and then they look at the spike in deaths during a heat wave. The gap between those two numbers, that represents the excess deaths. Time and time again, research shows that these excess deaths are massively higher than the few dozen official heat-related deaths recorded by local governments. The math just flat out proves that heat is killing way more people than we officially acknowledge.
But here's the thing. Heat absolutely does not treat everyone equally. You have the elderly and infants whose biological cooling systems are either fading or just haven't fully matured yet. Then you have patients with chronic conditions like heart disease or diabetes who simply can't handle the extra strain. And we can't ignore the massive socioeconomic factor here. Think about outdoor agricultural and construction workers who literally cannot escape the sun, or urban low-income populations trapped in really dense housing without access to air conditioning. It creates a glaring, often tragic disparity in exactly who survives a heat wave.
All right, zooming out, the environmental multipliers. We've spent some time looking at the human body and the hospital statistics, but now let's shift our focus to the macro level, our city streets, to see how our own surroundings act as threat multipliers.
Believe it or not, our cities are literally built to make heat waves worse through something called the urban heat island effect. Think about all the asphalt, concrete, and metal in a modern city. During the day, they act like giant sponges, just soaking up the sun's heat. But the real danger kicks in at night. Instead of cooling down, the city slowly radiates all that trapped heat back out. So why does this matter? Well, because nighttime is when the human body is desperately supposed to rest and recover from daytime heat stress. By keeping nighttime temperatures dangerously high, our own concrete jungles are essentially weaponizing the weather against us.
And of course, we really can't talk about environmental multipliers without touching on the broader scientific consensus. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change confirms that increased greenhouse gases are fundamentally altering these heat waves. They aren't just getting hotter, they're lasting way longer, and peak temperatures are shattering historical records. Terrifyingly, extreme heat is also expanding its geographic reach. We are seeing previously temperate regions, places like the Pacific Northwest or parts of Europe, facing levels of thermal stress that their infrastructure was simply never built to handle.
Tens of thousands. Just let that number sink in for a second. To give you a sense of the sheer scale we are dealing with, during the 2003 European heat wave alone, tens of thousands of excess deaths occurred. Healthcare systems in some of the most highly developed nations on Earth were completely overwhelmed in a matter of days, all due to a sudden surge in cardiovascular and renal failures. It is a stark, heartbreaking reminder of what happens when a population is caught off guard by a massive spike in temperature.
And the fallout extends way beyond the immediate loss of life too. It's like a societal domino effect. You get these surging emergency healthcare demands that strain hospitals to the breaking point. Meanwhile, outdoor labor productivity just plummets, and energy grids are pushed right to the brink by air conditioning spikes. As these systems start to fail, the burden falls disproportionately on poor populations, actively widening socioeconomic inequality. So you see, the ripple effects of a heat wave disrupts the entire fabric of a community. It's a massive economic and social issue, not just a medical one.
Closing the loop, preventing the preventable. Now, this is probably the most important part of our explainer today. Yes, extreme heat is a deadly threat, but the reality is these deaths are almost entirely preventable. We actually have the power and the knowledge to stop this silent assassin right in its tracks.
It all starts with basic public awareness and recognizing the early warning signs before the body hits that point of no return. If you, or maybe someone around you, is experiencing dizziness, a severe headache, or a suddenly rapid heartbeat, you need to act fast. Actually, one of the biggest red flags is a sudden lack of sweating, because that means the body's cooling system has completely tapped out. Confusion or physical weakness, those are signs of severe neurological and muscular distress. But the good news is, simple hydration with water and electrolytes, finding some shade and cooling down early can literally halt that deadly physiological cascade we discussed earlier.
And it's great to see how these individual actions build into broader, actionable public health policies. The World Health Organization recommends highly structured responses to systematically protect at-risk populations. It starts with implementing heat wave early warning systems so people know the danger is coming. That gets paired with urban greening, things like planting trees to break up those concrete heat islands. Local governments also need to open accessible cooling centers and legally enforce workplace heat regulations for outdoor labor. Really, this is the blueprint for survival.
So, as global temperatures rise, how is your community preparing to unmask and stop this silent assassin? We've walked through the microscopic breakdowns in the body, the hidden hospital statistics, and those urban heat traps that multiply the danger. The science is undeniably clear. Heat doesn't just affect our comfort, it determines our very survival. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. As global temperatures continue to climb, are you ready? Take a look around your city, check on your vulnerable neighbors, and let's start treating extreme heat like the actual emergency it truly is. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.